Good morning children, I am Rajeshwari. Today we are going to see the 11th chapter, the human eye and colorful world. In this module we are going to see the structure of eye, the function of various parts and the defects of the eye. Among the 5 sense organs, human eye is one of the most valuable sense organs that enable us to see the world around us. It is located inside the orbit of the skull. This is the front view of the eye. On this we have a thin transparent membrane. We call it as cornea. This is kept moist by the tear glands. Behind this we can see the whitish part. This is sclera. This gives the shape to the eye. This blue color is the iris. This is giving color to the eye and also controls the amount of light entering into the eye. This has a circular opening which we call it as pupil. This dilates and shrinks according to the amount of light. If the light is very minimum, it dilates wider, and if it is bright, it is shrinks so that the amount of light is being controlled. Here you can see there are different types of iris color. Here you can see when it is bright light, the iris relaxes, and you can see this is the pupil, and here it is dilated when the light is very dim. This is a special condition where a girl has 2 types of iris. This we call it as heterochromia. This is the lateral view of the eye. This is the transparent membrane which is bulged outside. This is cornea. This helps the light to reflect inside the eye. Behind this we have iris, just now we saw, and this is the pupil. Behind the pupil we have a crystalline jelly-like structure. It is biconvex lens. This biconvex lens shrinks or relaxes according to the ciliary muscles. This is held in position by the ciliary muscles. When the ciliary muscles contracts, the lens thickens. It means that the focal length reduces and you can see the nearby object. When this ciliary muscles relaxes, the lens becomes thin. That means the focal length increases and you can see the faraway object. The ability of the eye lens to adjust its focal length is called accommodation. The eye lens is composed of fibrous jelly-like material and its curvature can be modified by the ciliary muscles. Hence, the focal length can be changed as per the requirement. When the muscles are relaxed, the lens becomes thin. The radius of the curvature and hence the focal length increases. This enables us to see the distant object clearly. When we look at the object closer, the ciliary muscles contract, decreasing the radius of curvature and hence the focal length. This enables us to see the nearby objects clearly. The near point, that is the minimum distance where a normal person can see, is 25 centimeter, and the faraway object which we can see is infinity. The minimum distance at which the object can be seen most distinctively without strain is called least distant of distinct vision. The farthest point up to which I can see the objects clearly is called far point of the eye. The far point for a normal eye is infinity. A normal eye can see the object clearly that are between 25 centimeter and infinity. This distance we call it as range of vision. Here you can see when the object is at far point, the lens is relaxed, the focal length increases, and it is so that the image is formed on the retina. Same way, when the object is very close, the lens is thickened, the focal length reduced, and the image is made to fall again on the retina. When we are comparing eye with a camera, the iris is just like a diaphragm, and the retina is behaving like a screen of a camera. In front of the lens we have one liquid which we call it as aqueous humor. This keeps the lens moist. Behind this we have vitreous humus. This gives nutrition to the eye. This transmits the light which is entering into the lens to the retina. This retina has photoreceptive cells. So you can see these are rods. These are sensitive to dim light, and the cone shaped cells we call it as cones. The cone cells are very much active during bright light. They are sensitive to color, and rods are active when the light is very low or dim. The image which is formed on the retina is inverted, and is formed inverted. So these photosensitive cells converts the image into electrical signal, and these signals are taken to the brain through this nerve, which this nerve we call it as optic nerve. This area where the photosensitive cells are present, the concentration of these cells are higher. This point we call it as yellow point. At the junction of retina and the optic nerve, we cannot see the sensory cells, and in case the image is formed here, it is not cannot be seen. This particular point we call it as blind point. Whatever we see, this image is seen in our eye for 1/16th second. This we call it as persistent of vision. The image of an object formed in retina does not vanish immediately. It stays for 1/16 second. This is called as persistent of vision. Any image that is flashed more than 16 images per second would be seen as moving. This phenomenon only we are using in watching the TV, cinemas and all. Next we will see what are the defects of the eye and their corrections. When a person is not able to see the faraway object but he can see the nearby object clearly, we say this condition as myopia. Here the image is formed right in front of the retina. This may occur due to the elongation of the eyeball or too much curvature of the lens. This can be rectified by using a concave lens. Okay. This we also call it as short-sightedness. The next defect is hyperopia or hypermetropia, or we call it as long-sightedness. When a person is suffering from this, he cannot see the nearby object, but he can see the faraway object very clearly. The image, when the object is placed closer to him, the image will be formed right behind the retina. So he is not able to see the object clearly. To reduce this focal length, we are using another convex lens so that the focal length is reduced and the image is projected on the retina. The defect of hypermetropia may be because the focal length of the lens is too long, or sometimes the eyeballs becomes very small. The other condition, the other defect is astigmatism. It is the defect which some parts of the object are seen in focus while others are blurred. This arises due to the uneven curvature of the cornea. This is corrected by using cylindrical lenses. Okay. Next defect is presbyopia. This is a condition of affecting older people who cannot see nearby objects clearly. Their lens loses flexibility, resulting in the kind of long-sightedness. They cannot see the nearby object also. To rectify this, we are using a bifocal lens, which this has on the top we have a concave lens which can see the faraway object, and below we have a convex lens which can focus the nearby object. So both the defect can be rectified when we are using bifocal lens. So this is the difference between myopia and hypermetropia. And myopia, an individual is able to see close or nearby object but not the faraway ones. The myopia is also known as short-sightedness. In unfixed myopia, the image falls in the front of the retina of the eye. It happens when the eyeballs get elongated or there is a large convergence of eyes. The symptoms include squinting, headache, frowning, blurred eyesight. It can be corrected by the concave lens of suitable focal length. Now we'll see hypermetropia. An individual is able to see faraway objects and not the near ones in hypermetropia. Hypermetropia is also known as farsightedness. In unfixed hypermetropia, the image falls behind the retina of the eye. It happens when the eyeball gets shortened or there is a lesser convergence of light by the eyes. Fatigued eyes, headache. In kids, strabism, crossed eye can happen when significant long-sightedness has not been. It can be corrected by double convex lens of suitable focal length. Cataract. Cataract is an opacity of the normally clear lens which may develop as a result of aging, metabolic disorder, trauma or heredity. This also can be cleared by surgery, by removing the lens, affected lens, and implanting a plastic lens. Some people by birth cannot discriminate between the certain colors such as red and green. This is due to the genetic defect. When the cones of the retina are not functioning properly, the person cannot identify the colors. This defect we call it as color blindness. Some of them cannot see the objects clearly during night time or dim light. This happens when the rods are not functioning properly. This condition we call it as night blindness. So children, it is very essential to take good care of your eyes. Regular intake of leafy vegetables, colored fruits, nuts, vitamin A rich food will benefit your eye. So take care of your eyes. Thank you.